before empires rose and fell, before the jungles were mapped, before names like Paraguay, Brazil, or Argentina were ever spoken aloud, there lived a people whose stories were not carved in stone, but sung into the trees. Their lives moved to the rhythm of bird song and rainfall. Their world was not ruled by gold or war, but by the spirit of the forest. They were the Guarani. Over 2,000 years ago, long before the arrival of Columbus, the Guarani emerged from the Amazon basin and spread across the vast lands we now call Paraguay, southern Brazil, northern Argentina, and Bolivia. But they were not conquerors. They didn't build empires or towering pyramids. They built something far more enduring, a way of life rooted in balance, in spirit, in earth. To understand the Guarani is to understand a people who saw no separation between the physical and the spiritual. To them, everything had a soul. The rivers, the stones, the wind, the jaguar. The Creator God, Tuba, spoke not in words, but in thunder. The world, they believed, was born from music, a divine vibration that gave life to all things. And so they sang their stories, their prayers, their laws. They didn't need books. Their voices were their legacy. Their society was built around the village, a circle of thatched roof homes, each facing inward toward community. There were no kings. The Mburavicha, or chief, led through respect and wisdom, guided by the council of elders. Power was not imposed. It was shared and earned. And if the balance between people and nature was ever broken, if the land was exhausted or the spirits disturbed, they moved. Because the Guarani understood something we've forgotten. You don't fight the earth, you follow it. They were master farmers and gatherers, growing maize, manioc, and sweet potatoes, catching fish from clear rivers, hunting only what was needed. They practiced a gentle form of shifting agriculture that preserved the jungle's heart. No fences, no waste, no greed, just respect. And yet what may be most remarkable about the Guarani is that they are still here. Unlike the Maya, the Inca, or the Aztecs, the Guarani were never completely conquered. Today, more than 7 million people still speak the Guarani language. In Paraguay, it is an official language used in schools, courts, music, even politics. This is not a dead civilization. It breathes, it speaks, it resists. But the road was not easy. In the 16th century, the world changed. Ships arrived. From across the sea came steel, disease, and slavery. Portuguese and Spanish invaders captured Guarani men, women, and children, forcing them to labor in mines and plantations. Villages were destroyed. Sacred knowledge was erased. Forests burned. But the Guarani did not vanish. They found a strange kind of sanctuary in the Jesuit missions, religious settlements run by European priests who, unlike other colonizers, chose not to enslave them, but to save them. The Guarani were taught Christianity, reading, writing, and music. Baroque orchestras played deep in the jungle, conducted by Guarani musicians. To some, these missions were protection. To others, they were prisons without walls. The old gods were forbidden. Ancient rituals were condemned. The forest was tamed. Then came the betrayal. In 1750, Spain and Portugal signed the Treaty of Madrid. Jesuit missions were to be dismantled. Guarani lands were to be handed over to slave traders. The Guarani were told to leave. They refused. And so began the Guarani War. Outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded, the Guarani took up arms. In 1756 they fought with bows and memory, with dignity and desperation. Thousands were killed, but in death they carved their defiance into the pages of history. Still, they endured. They live today in modern cities and in the forest. They are farmers, musicians, poets, activists. They are the last voices of a truth we have nearly forgotten. But they are not silent. Today, their greatest enemy is no longer steel or slavery. It is deforestation, it is displacement, it is silence. The forest is being torn down. Their sacred lands are vanishing. Entire Guarani communities are pushed aside for soy farms, highways, and industry. But the Guarani do not stand aside. They protest, they organize, they speak, not only for themselves, but for the forest, for the earth, for us all. Because in the Guarani way of thinking, the earth is not a resource, it is a living being. You cannot own it, you must care for it. And if we forget that, we do not just lose the forest, we lose ourselves. This is not just the story of a people. It is the story of a way of life, one that sees nature not as something to dominate, but as something sacred. The Guarani have survived war, colonization, betrayal, and now globalization. They have done so not with armies, but with words, with song, with wisdom. They are the voices of the earth, and if we want a future worth living in, maybe it's time we listened. The Guarani, keepers of the forest, voices of the earth.